Welcome back to Pie Time, where we delve into the mind, our emotions, and the ways we connect with one another. Today, we're talking about something that quietly affects almost every relationship we have, often without us realizing it: projection. Have you ever snapped at a friend for being too controlling, only to later realize you were the one trying to call all the shots? Or maybe you accused a partner of being jealous when deep down you were the one struggling with insecurity. That's projection at work. It's subtle, it's sneaky, and it's powerful. So, what is projection? Simply put, it's a defense mechanism. When we feel uncomfortable with certain thoughts or emotions inside ourselves, instead of facing them directly, we unconsciously push them onto someone else. Think of it like holding up a mirror, but instead of seeing your reflection, you see a distorted version of yourself appearing in someone else. Here's an example. There was a man named Daniel who worked on a marketing team. He often accused his coworkers of being unreliable, missing deadlines, dropping the ball, not pulling their weight. However, the truth was that Daniel was the one struggling to stay organized. He couldn't face his own inconsistency, so he saw it everywhere else. That's projection in action. Another story comes from a woman named Alicia. She constantly accused her partner of hiding things from her. She felt he was being secretive, even dishonest. But after some reflection, she realized that she was the one holding back. She feared being vulnerable, so she projected that fear onto him, created tension that didn't need to be there, all because of projection. And here's one more, something a little more everyday. Two friends at work, Jamie and Chris, often grabbed lunch together. Jamie started to feel annoyed, thinking Chris was being judgmental about what she had ordered. But later, she realized it wasn't Chris at all. Jamie was judging herself. She was self-conscious about her food choices, and instead of owning that feeling, she projected it onto Chris. A small moment, but a powerful example of how projection slips into even the most ordinary situations. Psychologists have been studying this phenomenon for over a century. Sigmund Freud first described it, illustrating how the unconscious mind influences a significant portion of our actions. Often, projection comes from early childhood. If you grew up in a home where showing anger or sadness wasn't allowed, you might have learned to push those feelings down. And as an adult, when those emotions rise up, they don't come out as your own, they spill over as projections onto the people around you. Trauma also plays a role. When we go through painful experiences, our ability to process intense emotions can get blocked. Projection then becomes a survival tool. It helps us cope in the short term, but it often damages our relationships in the long run. At its root, projection often stems from fear or insecurity. For instance, imagine feeling unsure about your intelligence. Instead of admitting that fear, you accuse someone else of not being smart. Gives you a sense of control, even if only for a moment. So, how do we recognize our own patterns? First step is self-reflection. Slowing down and asking yourself, why does this trigger me so much? Can be eye-opening. Journaling is another powerful tool. Writing down your thoughts often reveals patterns that you'd miss otherwise. Noticing your emotional triggers, those moments when you feel a surge of anger, jealousy, or blame, can be a clue that projection might be occurring. In relationships, projection can be especially damaging. Constant accusations, blame, or criticism wear down trust. For example, projecting jealousy onto a partner can create conflicts that don't actually exist, slowly breaking down intimacy. But here's the hopeful part. We can change this. Overcoming projection means turning the mirror inward. It's about courageously facing the emotions we'd rather avoid. It's not easy, but when we do, we grow. We strengthen our relationships. We create connections that are honest and real. Projection might protect us in the moment, but facing it head-on sets us free. Thank you for joining me today. I hope this conversation helps you recognize projection not just as a psychological concept, but as something you can notice in yourself and in your relationships. And if you want to delve deeper, I recommend reading Reflections of Self, a deep dive into the psychological roots of projection. It explores the history, the psychology, and most importantly, practical strategies for building self awareness and emotional intelligence. Remember, when you're brave enough to face your own reflections, you create space for healthier, more authentic relationships. Until next time, namaste.